Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to beautifully trace a young girl's emotional journey to uncover the true meaning behind a beloved celebration. We're looking at a narrative titled Anaya's Eid of Kindness. Now, on the surface, it's a simple story, but as we break down the structure of this narrative today, we're going to see how it masterfully illustrates a profound shift in perspective, moving from the sheer joy of receiving to the much deeper satisfaction of giving.
But before we jump right into Anaya's story, I want you to stop and think for a second. How do you measure the perfect holiday? Is it the anticipation of waking up to that special food? Is it the gifts? Or is there something else, an intangible feeling that truly marks a day as perfect? Keep that question right in the back of your mind, because it's the exact question our protagonist, Anaya, answers for herself over the course of a single day.
All right, let's dive into Section 1, the morning celebration, joy and abundance.
To really understand the transformation Anaya goes through, we first need to look at the structure of her day. We start with the early morning spiritual gratitude, waking up before the sun and attending prayer. Then we move straight into a bustling afternoon of family fun in absolute abundance. And finally, the whole thing tapers off into a quiet evening of reflection under the brightly shining moon. It's a classic narrative arc, moving from high energy to thoughtful peace.
So, the day begins with just absolute warmth. Anaya wakes up with this palpable excitement. She excitedly hugs her parents and shouts, "Eid Mubarak!" It instantly sets a tone of pure joy. She goes to the Eid prayer with her family, and the source text points out that everywhere she looked, people were smiling, greeting each other, and thanking Allah for His blessings. She feels completely warm and happy inside, just totally surrounded by a community celebrating in harmony.
And this part of the story brilliantly captures the sheer abundance of the celebration. The author uses these deep sensory details to literally pull us into Anaya's world. We have the sweet smell of pancakes and cardamom tea filling the house. Visually, she's wearing a beautiful new dress, sparkling shoes, and a matching hijab. You can hear the laughter of visiting cousins filling the air. And then, of course, there are the gifts: delicious sweets, storybooks, shiny bracelets, and particularly a soft teddy bear. She is so overwhelmed with all this abundance that she feels she couldn't possibly stop smiling. Her world in this exact moment is insulated and practically perfect.
Which brings us to Section 2, the unexpected sight, a shift in perspective.
Now, notice the deliberate emotional shift mapped out here. This is where the whole story pivots. Anaya is hanging out in her room, totally surrounded by her colorful gifts, when she looks outside her window. She spots a little girl around her own age sitting quietly near a small shop with a younger brother. Anaya immediately notices the stark contrast. Their clothes are old, and they look incredibly sad as other families pass by, celebrating the holiday. And finally, we see the physical manifestation of her realization. Anaya's smile slowly fades. The bubble of her perfect morning has popped.
So here is the crucial point. Anaya compares her massive pile of brand new gifts inside to the reality of those sad kids outside. And in that moment of cognitive dissonance, a memory is triggered. A lesson from her Quran class flashes into her mind. Allah loves kindness. This specific memory acts as her internal moral compass. It completely bridges the gap between simply feeling bad for someone and recognizing a genuine moral imperative to do something about it.
Let's move into Section 3, choosing kindness, taking action.
She doesn't just sit there feeling sad. She walks straight up to her mother and asks this incredibly simple yet powerful question. Can we help them? And the response she gets is vital. Her mom smiles proudly and says, "Of course we can." This immediate validation of her empathetic impulse is what empowers Anaya to take the next step. She isn't told to ignore it. She is actively encouraged to act.
So Anaya starts gathering items to give to the children outside. But look closely at what she actually chooses. She picks some of her absolute favorite sweets. She grabs one of her new storybooks. And, most importantly, she picks the soft teddy bear she had just received. The source explicitly notes that she loved that teddy bear very much. She wasn't just giving away leftovers or stuff she didn't want. She was actively sacrificing something she deeply valued because she wanted the little girl to feel happy too. And guys, that is the very definition of true charity.
Let's see how this builds into just a beautiful moment of connection. Anaya and her mom head outside. Anaya, acting a bit shyly at first, approaches them and repeats the exact same greeting from her joyous morning, Eid Mubarak. And look at how quickly her kindness transforms the scene. The little girl's eyes just widen with surprise and joy. The younger brother hugs that soft teddy bear tightly and grins from ear to ear. Finally, the little girl whispers a heartfelt thank you. Anaya's kindness literally replaces their sadness with wide-eyed joy and tight hugs.
And that leads us to Section 4, the true meaning,
a different kind of happiness.
Anaya experiences this massive internal realization. On the one hand, you've got the joy she felt that morning, the joy of receiving candy, games, and presents. It was great. It made her smile. But on the other side, we have what she just experienced, the joy of giving and making someone else smile. Anaya realizes that this second kind of happiness feels significantly bigger, deeper, and honestly far more rewarding than simply receiving.
Later that evening, the whole timeline just naturally comes to a close. The moon's out, shining brightly in the sky, and Anaya is sitting peacefully right next to her mom. She speaks quietly to her, "Today was the best Eid ever." Now think back to our opening question. The morning was packed with gifts and food, but it wasn't until she gave her gifts away that the day achieved the status of the best ever.
Her mom gives her a kiss on the forehead and drops this absolutely beautiful summary, "Because you celebrated with kindness." It perfectly encapsulates the moral of the story, right? The true perfection of the holiday wasn't found in what Anaya accumulated for herself, but in what she shared with others.
To sum up the core message of our source material here, Anaya hits on this really peaceful realization. True celebration requires empathy. It's not just about the fun, the new clothes, or the sweets. It's intrinsically tied to caring for others and actively sharing your own abundance and blessings. That right there is what elevates a good day into a deeply meaningful one.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to turn it back over to you. The next time you find yourself celebrating, surrounded by abundance and family and joy, how will you share your happiness? I really challenge you to take Anaya's lesson into your own life. Look out the window, find an opportunity for kindness, and discover for yourself how making someone else smile might just make your own celebration truly perfect. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.